13 and 8.
Like
Yeah,
13 and 8.
It's probably Bobby.
I'll let you have Bobby. I'm
Hill,
gonna go with somebody else.
I don't know. I might take George, man, just because of all the scrutiny he got from the playoffs. Which, yeah, he was bad, but we've been telling people he's a vet. He knows what he knows his role. That's the thing that makes the Bucks great. Is when people are looking at the totality of the team, they're looking at it and they're thinking, "Oh, this team's more talented. This team's more talented." But let me tell you something: the Bucks are well coached. Everybody understands their role. We don't even have our full roster right now, and we can just plug guys in because they understand the role that they're going to have to fill. That is what makes a great team. And then you add the best player in the entire league that you're in, any league. And it's just like, okay, it's a match made in heaven now.
What's up, Taylor? So we're going to start with the Badgers today, but Jake and I are just having a little bit of discussion on the Bucks as we start the show off. Yep. Just kind of talking about some of the underrated performers that the Bucks have had so far. I want to throw this out there. We'll talk about the Bucks more in a little bit, but Chris Middleton was shooting threes today.
Uh-oh.
So he was doing dribbling work yesterday. He was shooting threes today. So he's going to be
making
back
threes
soon.
Oh yeah, baby! I'm excited, dude. The Bucks are just getting started. It feels like forever since they played, man.
I know.
Seriously.
I know. That's why, even watching the preseason games, it's like, oh, basketball is back. Like I'm so happy basketball is back.
No,
the weather's getting cold, but basketball is back.
It just gives me a reason to stay inside, baby.
Right. Which reminds me, now that we're on the subject of basketball, next Wednesday, there will be no recap because the Badgers football team is on bye this week. There will be no recap. There will be a preview next week. Today, there's going to be recap and no preview. But next week, we are going to do our Badger basketball primer. So we're going to get into what's going on with the Badger basketball team ahead of the season. So we're going to start with that next Wednesday. Mikey will be back to join us for that, our Badger guy. So we're going to do that next week, but we're going to start with the football team today. And we're going to start on offense, and let's recap the Badgers offense. And yes, Taylor does have our back in those comment sections. Taylor, real quick, I'm just going to let you know, because I'm not being nice to people that aren't nice anymore. It's going to sound kind of harsh, but if you're going to act like a dick, I'm no longer going to be nice. Jake and I are truly dedicated to our vision of wanting to really help change the mindsets. So for Wisconsin sports fans, we're not going to pander to people who still choose negativity, especially when it's stemming from a post that we make of hey, here's how you can look on the bright side, or here's how you can find a silver lining. And then people are still going to come and be negative. We're not going to pander to that anymore. Taylor said he can be sassy. Yeah, that's fine. I went from you know what? I'm not even going to be sarcastic in my responses anymore or ignore it. I'm just going into the negativity and I'm meeting it with the same energy, with the opposite side of the coin. So I'm not pandering to the people that want to be dicks, especially if they're going to do it to other people. And we're going to continue to try to reach our target audience, and that's Wisconsin sports fans that want to think more positively. So, we're not gonna pander to those that don't want to stick around with that. So, we want to make a real difference. So, Isaac, we will be getting to the Bucks. We're gonna recap the Badgers game, and we're gonna start with the offense. So I will let Jake go first.
I got a question for you first.
Okay.
Has Jim Leonard locked up the head coaching position for next season?
All right. If I had to put a number on it from 1 to 10, how locked up he's got it, from 0 being the door's wide open and 10 being locked and padlocked, I'd say a 7.5.
Okay. See, I'm thinking it's his. It's not padlocked, but they shut the door, they turn the lock. He'd have to do a little bit of extra work to get out of it, but to me, it's his. It's his job.
Love you too, Taylor. You're the guy.
They just play so hard for him, and I love it. Don't pass it. I'm like, we did it. Yeah, for real. that guy went on to win a national championship at LSU. That's got to sting. Go ahead.
As far as Jim Leonard is concerned, I mean, I gave my 1 to 10. So if you're on a 5, which is we're going to interview other candidates and we're going to, keep you in the loop, or we'll consider you as well. I think he's in between somewhere in the we'll consider you and this is your job. I think he's right in the middle of that because they're through 3 games. They're 2-1. They've performed well in all 3 games. And I think that's important. So, more winning obviously is going to increase that. And if you ask me 2 weeks from now after the Badgers play again, and the Badgers play well, that number will for sure go up. I will say we posted the quotes from Zach Halprin, who is one of the guys who's pretty close to the Badgers, about Jim Leonard after the game in the locker room, detailing his vision for the program should he receive the full-time job. That made me want him to have the job more. I'm sure you would agree with that, but
100%. And I love the thing that I really like that kind of was just like, all right, that's nail in the coffin, is after the game when they're jumping around and they're all having fun and he's in the middle. It's like, that's the camaraderie. That's the team bonding. That's the love, like that's the passion. And, he was a very passionate player. He left it all on the field. So if he can translate that somehow and get that energy out to an entire 53-man roster or whatever, how many people are on a college football team, 100, that's amazing. That would be amazing. Lever's got this locked up. That's why he stayed when the NFL was calling. UW powers more enough. Yeah, that's tough. I never thought that we would fire a coach in the middle of the season. I'm not trying.
I didn't think they'd do it in the middle of the season again. I thought it would be at the end.
But that was crazy to me. I thought we were just about to. I thought me and you were about to be like, all right, we're gonna take our lumps this year, and obviously we've taken our lumps, and we're gonna have to try to stay positive. But this Jim Leonard thing is kind of giving us a little bit of juice, and I like it.
Yeah.
And they're still not out of the race in the West, so don't give up.
Yeah. Illinois isn't safe yet.
It's a slim chance, but you're telling me there's a chance, I will take it, man. Give me a puncher's chance. Especially with a team that plays hard.
Yeah. I'm going to stick by what I said, that I think the job will be his unless he decides he doesn't want it. The comments that he was making this past weekend makes me feel that he does want the job. And that to me is enough to pretty much think that the job is his. And it's just kind of a formality of going through the rest of the season.
I agree. All right, so let's get into this recap versus Purdue. Badgers won this game 35-24. I don't care what anybody says. It should have been 35-17 because he was 100% short. We were kicking their ass at that point, so I was kind of like, nuance. What's the difference? But still matters, when you look at the totality of stats, right? And we talk a lot about stats on this show.
Yep.
So the Badgers had 381 total yards, 203 passing, 178 rushing. Love that balance. Honestly,
I agree.
Love that balance.
Thinking that too, balance.
I love the balance of the play calling. 29 rush attempts, 21 pass attempts. Love that. Absolutely love that. Only positives can come out of that. Seriously. We gave up 2 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, 1 pass defense, and 2 quarterback hurries. That's an average day. I can live with that. I honestly can live with that. D1 college football team. Now, Purdue's not, an Alabama or, this year a Tennessee or an Ohio State, but they're still a formidable team. They were 5-2 coming into this game. They get NFL prospects. Rondale Moore is a recent one. George Karlaftis just was in the draft this year, was one of the highly touted pass rushers. I mean, Purdue gets players. So manhandling
laid
Purdue
the wood
like
on
this,
Nebraska last week too.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Isaac said, just feed Braylon Allen. Dude is a monster. Yeah, he's a stud. He's an absolute stud. If I would still want to see him one-on-one with a DB, like running at each other. Like when the DB,
I don't think he's ever going to get a one-on-one.
He's not, because they run him inside too much and they never get him in space. But if that moment happens, I promise you that DB will have to make a business decision. And it would be him getting out of the way. Kind of like when Giannis comes down the lane, you're kind of like,
It'd be like jumping at his legs would be what it is.
It would be Oklahoma drill. I mean, he would absolutely manhandle.
I would not go high on Braylon Allen.
No. Otherwise, you'll come out like seeing stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they were too afraid on third down as well, so that could be a little bit better. But other than that, I love this game. This game was awesome, very well balanced.
So, I know Mike would appreciate this because he was very critical of Bortolini last week. Bortolini was the jumbo tight end this week instead of Tyler Beach. So that was a change they made with the offensive line. Kind of a theme with Wisconsin football teams this week.
Yeah.
I gotta say, the first touchdown that they scored, that play call was flawless. Absolutely flawless. That was a perfect play call. So they start the play right off the bat. It's play action. I'm already in. they get two guys running up towards the sideline at different depths, and the cornerback is caught in the middle. And basically, the Badgers had run this play in practice all week, and Purdue had been giving up the short route. They've been covering. It was Skylar Bell that was in the back of the end zone. And the cornerback actually came up and covered DK on the short route. So all Graham Mertz had to do was toss it to the back of the end zone, and they had an easy touchdown. That really started a trend that I noticed throughout the entire game, and the trend was Graham Mertz throwing the ball on the run. They rolled him out a bunch of times, which I think is part of the low sack number, is they were rolling him out a lot. Mm-hmm. He was throwing on the run so well, like the entire game. Now, the second touchdown they scored, they had 14 points at this point because the defense got a touchdown. But they get into their second possession. The touchdown to Kimmeray DK. Did you notice what started that play before the ball was even snapped?
No, tell me.
Kimmeray DK was on the left side. Mm-hmm. Graham Mertz motioned him over to the right side and sent him out on a little route into the flat. They were on like the 4-yard line, I think. And then DK made a really nice play to get the ball and then to spin back inside and get into the end zone. Graham Mertz made a pre-snap read that resulted in a touchdown. That's a big step for Graham Mertz.
Yes,
his decision, his pre-snap stuff. You can see Jake and I are both smiling because we're excited. That's a big step for Graham Mertz, is making those pre-snap reads and taking that next step. That's the next step for Graham Mertz. He's got the physical ability. He's made some nuts throws this year. He's made throws that like damn, that's throws that only his guys can catch. Where he's gotten tripped up this year is two things. One of them is bad offensive line play, which seems to have been corrected the last couple weeks. Outside of certain times during the Michigan State game, but all in all, it's been better. And then the other thing was just his decision making. What's up, Simon? Just his decision making. So, trying to over make plays, things like that. So to see Graham Mertz doing things on the cerebral side of the football game, that was a big step for me from Graham Mertz, was to make that motion that resulted in a touchdown. So I really, really, really wanted to hammer that home.
Yes, sir.
So right before halftime, the offensive line did have some penalties that kind of stalled the drive. Andy Vujnovic, that dude, he might get some NFL calls. I'm not going to lie.
He's a good punter, man.
Dude, the one that he punted, I think it was Charlie Jones, the Purdue's number one wide receiver, who did not seem like he had 10 catches, but
no,
he comes running out. He lets the ball bounce behind him. It bounces twice inside the 10 and then rolls out of bounds right next to the pylon on like the 2-yard line. Like, that's coffin corner punt to a T.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So we get into second half. Second play, Braylon Allen scores. Actually, that was their first drive in the second half. What does Jake Eschenbach do to deserve an offensive pass interference call while running a route?
Well, are you asking me like my opinion, or are you asking me like letter of the law?
I mean, I guess both. Give me the head and the heart analytic.
Well, I guess so. By rule, you're not allowed to like make an unnatural movement during your route to make it look like you're a blocker or extend your arms, to create a competitive advantage. Which I don't know if I saw either of those things, to be honest.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so either. He's basically running a route, and the dude ran into him. Like, not allowed to run routes, but whatever.
Well, I mean, and then you go to the Packer game, and Eric Stokes gets a terrible, terrible, illegal contact
God, I had
call
a
on him.
freaking fumble return for a touchdown on that play
Yeah,
too. So annoying.
changed the whole game.
It did, among other things, but we'll get into that on Friday. And then we get into my last week's X Factor, which was Isaac Garendo, who didn't really get a lot of touches in the Michigan State game, but did have some key plays that helped the Badgers take that game in overtime. This game, he makes a key play, and it's a 54-yard touchdown. After that, the Badgers still had a couple decent plays, but after that, they were pretty much just looking to run clock. But as far as the offense goes, the play action was working really well. Graham Mertz is making good decisions and good throws and pre-snap reads. Braylon Allen. Isaac Garendo had a long touchdown. Pretty much everything you'd want from the Badgers offense in this game.
Yep. They were very well balanced. Everybody was hitting. The backup running back scoring 50-yard touchdowns. It feels like Wisconsin football, right?
Yeah, right. So as we kind of transition here, I just want to throw this out there. That being the long touchdown by Garendo, the Badgers having a drive that started at the 12-yard line, and having a defensive touchdown, those three things lead to the time of possession being lopsided. Yep, so we look at the time of possession. I don't remember what the exact number was. I think it was like
25 to 35.
37 to 23 or something.
25 to 35.
Okay.
Yep.
So that, looking at the Badgers, look at where the Badgers started their drives. So they started at their own 24, their own 20, their own 16, their own 28, their own 25, then the Purdue 14-yard line, and then 22, 25, 25, and then their own 42 and their own 48. So looking at their touchdown drives. So this is their touchdown drives. 2 minutes, 26 seconds. 3 minutes, 59 seconds. 12 seconds. 1 minute and 30 seconds. So total on their 4 touchdown drives, they used 8 minutes and 7 seconds to score 4 touchdowns.
Jeez.
That's insane.
They had Giannis efficiency.
That's just 2-minute offense all the time. 8 minutes and 7 seconds
with the Packers
4 touchdowns. That's insane.
That's well done.
All right. So switching to the defense, no Nick Herbig, but give me your thoughts on the Badger defense.
I'm not going to say impressed, but I think they were okay. I think they were good. John Torchio, man, that guy's really creating a name for himself, isn't he?
Yeah.
Another spectacular game. 10 tackles, pass defense, a pick six, another one, a 31-yarder. He's doing his thing. Badgers had 2 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, 3 pass defense, the touchdown, and they forced 3 turnovers in this game. So they forced turnovers at such a high rate. That's why they're still an elite defense. While they're giving up yards, it seems different, more focused. Their energy, they're playing hard.
Yeah, I agree.
They are playing hard.
Yeah.
I just had to teach my stepson this lesson, actually. So we had our final game on the same day as the Badgers, except ours is earlier.
Right.
And, one of the kids, he's not the best. He's just learning. I put him in at quarterback for the first time all year. And I'm like, all right, remember, this is the play. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to make it easy for the kids. And I'm like, okay, you're going to call this play, right? So he rolls out. He's looking. He's a little guy. He's a really, really little guy. And he throws it up. The guy picks it off, and he runs it back for a touchdown. Immediately, I go look at everybody else. I'm not looking at him for throwing the interception, right? I go look at everybody else because I want to see who's putting their head down, because this is going to be a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
I saw my stepson was the only one not running back. So you know what I did? I went up to, I said, go sit down until I know you're going to run. I said, everybody else ran after him, tried to tackle him. Not really tackle, because we're playing flag football. He was like, why'd I get taken out? I didn't throw the interception. I said, you can control two things, Aiden. Your mindset and the energy that you put forth. I said, we have a little girl on our team. Her name is Maggie. Best player on the team. I said, I would take 10 Maggies over you. You want to know why? Because Maggie does exactly what I say, and she runs hard every single play. I'll take 10 Maggies over one Aiden, even though Aiden is by far a better player. He's fast, he can catch, he can throw, he does it all. But it's up here. It's the attitude. The defense is playing with that edge. They're playing with that energy, and I love every single bit of it. It's going through the entire team, right? And it's led by Jim Leonard, and honestly, I didn't see this coming. So I'm just pleasantly shocked. I'm happy that it's happening because it's my team, right? And this defense plays with energy, and they just make shit happen, like the 3 turnovers. It's just something – there's just something beautiful about it, man. I mean, we held them to 5 of 16 on third down. Not bad. They were 3 of 4 on fourth down, which is kind of eh. I mean, we got them to fourth down.
One of them shouldn't count.
I agree. But, I mean, we got them to fourth down, and they converted them. Credit to you, for converting 3 out of 4 fourth downs.
Yeah.
But they ran a lot more plays than us in that time of possession, that 10 minutes. 33 rush attempts and 46 pass attempts. More than double our pass attempts. So all I can say for this Badgers team is just continue to give effort. And honestly, I don't care what the numbers say, because stats can be misleading, right?
Right. Well, like I said, that's the amount of plays run that really ties into the time of possession, because obviously if you have the ball more, hypothetically you're running more plays. They correlate. So I mentioned no Nick Herbig. Obviously, he's the best player on the Badgers defense.
Yep.
What I noticed was John Torchio, for the first 5 or 6 plays, I think it was the first 5 plays, I think he intercepted the 6th play. John Torchio was essentially playing Nick Herbig's spot on the defense. He was rushing the passer. He was in the box, was what I noticed, because I'm like, oh, that's Torchio. I'm like, he's up in the box. The first 5 plays, and then he talked about it after the game that he knew that was the play that Purdue was going to run, so he had to kind of hold himself back because he wanted to jump the route, but he's like, I got to wait until he's ready to throw the ball so I can go get it. Not that he gets there early and then he moves on to his next read. So Torchio is getting ready. You can watch the play. If you rewatch the play, so you rewatch the highlight of his pick 6, you can see obviously you can see the Purdue guy running his curl route, and you can just see John Torchio's shadow come up as he's raking his route, and then you see Torchio just run in front of it and grab the ball and go for his pick 6. So it's cool because you just see his shadow coming, and then boom, he's in front of the ball and he's running the other way. I will say the Badgers did a good job on third down and red zone, being able to hold Purdue to 3 points on their first real threat. And John Torchio, he's just everywhere on this game, making tackles, knocking down passes, intercepting passes, obviously scoring touchdowns. Purdue had a couple big plays to their tight end. They got a stop on third down. And then let's see. As far as cornerbacks, I will say I believe Alexander Smith and Justin Clark did a really good job on Charlie Jones, Purdue's number 1 wide receiver. He did finish with 10 catches for 105 yards. It didn't feel like that at all.
No.
So I will say that. And then that punt by Vujnovic, that punt essentially kept Purdue from getting points right before halftime.
Yep.
If they get the ball at the 40-yard line or 50-yard line, it's a different story. First possession of the second half, Purdue runs the ball. They get a 1-yard run. Second play gets a pass batted down at the line of scrimmage, and the third play is a Torchio interception. Second possession for Purdue in the second half. A sack, a screen that gets blown up, and then a pass that gets them back to the original line of scrimmage and a punt. Badgers came out of halftime ready to go on defense.
Yes, sir.
They carried that energy over. They didn't rest on their lead, which is something I think is important. Purdue moved the ball a little bit on their third possession, but the fumbled punt gave them a second chance and gave Purdue their first touchdown. Unfortunately, another theme with Wisconsin sports this week. I want to give CJ Getz a little bit of credit for playing well in the run game. We've been calling for others besides Nick Herbig and Keanu Benton to step up on the Badgers defense in the front seven. I'll say I think Jake Chaney has done that a bit, and then CJ Getz. Jordan Turner is getting there. I think he's got opportunity to continue growing in that aspect, but I wanted to give CJ Getz some credit. And then let's see if there's anything else I wanted to throw out there. Yeah, and then the terrible call on the goal line. I mean, what's the point of having review if you're not even going to get it right after you review it?
He clearly did not move the marker. If anywhere, he got back to the line. He was lucky.
Yeah,
because he got met in that hole.
Definitely at least a good foot short.
Oh yeah.
And then late in the game, Jordan Turner got an interception off the hands of the tight end. It wasn't Durham, their really good tight end who had been playing really well that whole game.
Yeah.
It was off their second tight end. So
he's massive, by the way.
Yeah.
So dude, big boy.
And he's 87, so like he kind of looks like Gronk, I'm not going to lie.
And he made some tough big boy catches, man.
Dude, he made that one-handed catch on their first touchdown.
Yes.
That was a nice.
And Turner got destroyed on play action on that, by the way.
Yeah.
I didn't want to mention that, but you got to trust your eyes, buddy. But it was a hell of a catch. Good throw, too. Let's give credit to the quarterback. But, I mean, and he had one later where he was just going over the middle and he was getting sandwiched between two Badgers. And it was like, that probably didn't feel good for 8 yards. That's all I'm saying.
Well, was that right after he had like a 27-yard gain, too?
Yeah, I think that was that
same drive. 2 big plays to the tight end, and then after that, they did like, let's see, I had it written down. They had 2 big plays to the tight end, and then were they fumble after that?
Touchdown, punt, interception. Don't know. Looks like Tyler might have froze here. So I don't know if anybody else had any comments about the Badgers game. What did you think? Bill, you seem like you know your stuff. So I think I'm just going to move on to 3 stars here. So I'll start with my first star, and I was hoping Tyler was going to be here for this one, but I did put Isaac Guerrero on there. He had 7 carries, 72 yards, touchdown. Obviously, the 54-yarder that was a long, but yeah, I thought Isaac Guerrero, and the reason that he's on there, spoiler alert, I don't have Braylon Allen. I could put Braylon Allen on here every week. Kind of like, we do 3 stars for the Packers. I could probably put Aaron Jones on there every week, even though he doesn't touch the ball. He's clearly one of our best players, best performers. But Isaac Guerrero, his ability to be a big play, I think is something that was missing from this team. So having that home run hitter, Badgers have had that forever. I mean, Monte Ball was a home run hitter. James White back in the day. Melvin Gordon, obviously. I mean, he had one of the best statistical seasons in NCAA history. I know everybody's going to remember him in the NFL, but if you look up his college highlights, he was him. That's all I'm going to say. So Isaac Guerrero's ability to be a big play, and not that Braylon Allen isn't, but having another guy that can do that, just adds that little bit more to the offense. My next guy, and again, I was hoping Tyler was going to be in here because he mentioned him, and he didn't know. We don't talk about our 3 stars or nothing. We just do our notes through what we think up here, and that's what we get. So for me, I put Jake Chaney in there. 5 total tackles, 4 solo, a sack, 1.5 tackles for loss. Phenomenal. He's been playing high energy, going 100% balls to the wall, and that's what you need. I'm going to answer a question here. Bernard for the second time in 29 minutes and 54 seconds, asked, do y'all think Aaron Rodgers is overrated? No, Bernard, we do not. I'm just going to talk for Tyler because I know he feels the same way. No, we do not. We think that the entire offense is struggling. That's the crazy thing about the Packers, if I could just talk about them for a second. The offensive line struggling. Seems like it was fixed last week. Seems like they were better. The receivers some of them aren't running the right routes. They're dropping passes. The running backs, I don't have any complaints about the running backs. They just got to touch the damn ball. Point blank, period. And Rodgers, as he doesn't have the same accuracy. He's still giving catchable footballs. And guys just got to make plays. Sometimes you got to help the quarterback out. Just like how the quarterback's got to help the wide receivers out by not getting them killed. I think that sometimes the wide receivers have to help the quarterback out. And at the trade deadline, I'm sure we're going to bring this up, but I think they gotta swing for the fences. This is the first time that I really feel like that. The last couple of years, I was kind of like, we're all right. We can survive. We can do this. I like our team. I like our roster. But there's just obviously something missing in this mixture of the 2022 Packers. Bill says, when opposing defenses know that the Badgers have two prospective home run hitters, they have to plan for it. Garindo gives us that. I 100% agree, Bill. That is exactly why he is in there. He's another threat. And I do like Malusi. I feel like Malusi has that spot over him because he's a little bit more of a dual threat. He can catch the ball, run the ball. He can do both things. So my last star is nobody other than John Torchio. This was a John Torchio game. As Tyler mentioned before, as he always does, he brings great stuff every week, man. Talks about him in the box, lining up in the Nick Herbig role, jumping routes. He does it all. John Torchio has become a star for the Wisconsin Badgers defense. Like I said, 10 total tackles, 3 solo tackles, a pass defense, and 1 house call. I mean, what else could you want for this guy? James said, in slightly other news, TSU and LSU, random, still has a chance to win their respective conferences. LSU still has a chance to win their conference? That is actually shocking to me. I know that is there an east-west over there, or is it a north-south, or what is it over there for SEC? I don't know how that one works, but I think are they in the same one as Bama, which would be the north or whatever? Because I know that Tennessee is probably running away with the other side. I know, right? East-west, they have to beat Bama, though. Oh, okay. That'll be tough. If they beat Bama, I would be shocked, honestly. But who the hell did they just handle last weekend? Mississippi State or something like that. They're in the SEC West. Yeah, because Tennessee and like Florida and all them, they're in the East. Okay. Yep, Badgers are in the West as well, man. And they still have a chance. Damn, let me find this real quick here. I have a photo of what needs to happen. I have to go in our Badgers chat because I put it in there. But I have a photo of what needs to happen for the Badgers to win. And it's like, when you think about it, it's like not crazy in my mind, at least. To win their final 4 games. So I mean, that's obvious. Win your games, handle your business. So they play Maryland, Nebraska, Iowa, and Minnesota. That's not something that is unreal. Illinois to lose 3 of their 5. We were going over their game. They play who the heck do they all play? They play Nebraska this week, and they play Michigan State, Purdue.
They play Purdue.
Michigan, and Northwestern. So I mean, they're losing to Michigan. That's happening. So if they lose to Michigan State, Purdue, and Nebraska, 2 of those 3, the Badgers have a chance. And then the last thing they need is Purdue to lose one of their last 4. So that's obviously one I can see. Oh, Bernard agrees. I answered a question. Bernard said, do you think A-Rod is overrated? And he said he agreed to my answer. A-Rod is still the man. There's no question about it. The people, and Tyler shared a poll, and it honestly ruined my day a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little mad at you for ruining my day the other day. But It wasn't your fault.
Hey, we're here to try to help with this kind of stuff.
I know, but it's getting freaking ridiculous, man. There was a poll
Indicative
and
of the fan base is what it is.
it was it was talking about what was it? Do you blame
Who would you
Rodgers
rather move on from?
Who would you rather move on from? That's what it was. And people really picked Aaron Rodgers.
And it wasn't close. It was like 77%
floor.
Aaron Rodgers to 23% Matt LaFleur.
And you want to know? All right. So first of all, I think this first thing's happening. Rival fans were voting on there. Obviously, they want us to get rid of Rodgers. And two, people were voting with political views, which is just stupid.
Yeah, we've been advocates for separating personal things from football, but it's tough for people to do. I get it.
Bill, it's insane, man. The guy gives us 17 years of his life, blood, sweat, and tears, wins 4 MVPs, gives us a Super Bowl, and all the people are like, only one Super Bowl. Are you serious right now? Some people literally die before their team wins a fucking Super Bowl.
Dude, like, did you? You know what bothered me more was the guy. I think it was a guy that Nick was arguing with yesterday that said he would give Lombardi back to get rid of Rodgers.
Oh my god.
All right. So now that my technical difficulties are gone, look, if people would be willing to trade for Matt Ryan, you're telling me that people wouldn't be willing to have Aaron Rodgers on their team?
Come on, man. I'm so mad. I didn't even look because Nick only tagged me and stuff. There's nothing against Nick. Only tagged me and stuff when people say literally the most ridiculous thing of all time. And it's like, why? Why would you say that? Why?
Where do you find these people?
How did you think of that and pull that out of your ass and then write it? Like, why?
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
You got to get deep in there to find stuff like that, too.
Well, not for him, maybe. I don't know what his life's like. Maybe that was on top. Maybe that was the best he's got.
Yikes.
Yeah.
All right. Did you give all 3 of your 3 stars?
I did.
All right. Who were they?
Just
said, tell me who they were.
I said Isaac Garendo, Jake Chaney, and the man, the myth, the legend, John Torchio.
Wow.
John Housecall Torchio is what I'm going to call him.
John Housecall Torchio. I'm with that. So my 3, I obviously had Torchio. I'm sure you gave all of his stats. My second one, I put Graham Mertz, 13 of 21, 61.9 completion percentage, 203 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Throwing on the run really well, and like I was hammering on before, those pre-snap adjustments for him to recognize that's a big step for Graham Mertz. Mm-hmm. And then for my third star, I put Braylon Allen. 16 carries for 113 yards and a touchdown. He broke a lot of tackles. And just 7.1 yards per carry. That feels like Wisconsin football.
Yes. It does.
For my underrated performer, did you give an underrated performer?
No, I did not.
All right, why don't you do that? Because I'm interested to see what you say.
Well, I was going to go with Graham Mertz, and I was going to go with some minuscule things like throwing on the run and reading the defense. That's why I was smiling so hard when you were talking about it. I was like, I can't come up with nothing slick anymore, bro. Like, we've been doing this too long. We learned each other. We feed off each other so much that, like, I can't even do no slick shit no more. It's kind of, But, him just learning the extra nuances of the game, like you said, that is the next step. So him just doing that is just like, wow, man. I mean, next year, and it sucks to talk about next year because we still have this year. This year we still are in good hands. And next year when he comes back and he gets another year under his belt.
Not sponsored by Allstate yet, by the way.
Not yet. But next year, coming into next year, his confidence is just going to be even higher. So hopefully he just keeps balling out, man.
Yeah. And seeing growth from him and improvement, I don't know why anybody would want anything less for Graham Mertz than to see continued improvement. Jared, yes, we are covering college football. We're going to switch to the NBA in a little bit here as well.
Bloody hell.
Crikey. Jared is from Australia for those of our viewers and listeners that are now very confused.
They're like, whoa, why is it random?
do we think anything with the coaching change had anything to do with Mertz playing better? Honestly, Jake and I have been pretty 100% behind Graham Mertz all season.
Mhm.
I think if we're gonna say something like that, since the coaching change, I would say the energy that has helped improve the entire team
Mhm.
has worked some magic on the offensive line, which
Yep.
then benefits Graham Mertz.
I'd agree with that. I think just the confidence level and, I keep hammering home the energy, but it just is such a vital, important part in sports is just coming to fucking work.
Yeah. I would like to throw out one other thing too, as far as Graham Mertz is concerned about improvement. Um, basically, Jim Leonard handing the keys to the car of the offense to Bobby Ingram.
Yeah.
I think that makes a difference.
Mhm.
Um, I think it's helped change the identity, not a lot, but just a little. If we're talking about having a dial that's cranked all the way to the run, and you turn it just a little bit to the pass, and you end up with like 70% run plays, 30% pass plays under Barry Alvarez, Gary Anderson, Brett Bielema ages. Then you get into Paul
Mhm.
Christ, and then you're looking at like 65% run, 35% pass. And now I think you're getting a little bit more turning that dial, not a ton, but just in that 20-25 pass range, I think is a good area for Graham Mertz to be in, not in like the 15 to 20 passes per game for Graham Mertz, which obviously wasn't always the case. But when the Badgers are losing games, then they have to throw the ball to try to get back into them, as
Mhm.
opposed to using the pass and the run to set each other up. And I think that play calling has been more balanced, like Jake said before. The
Mhm.
29 runs and 21 passes, that more balanced play calling, I think that makes a difference as well.
Mhm. 100%, man.
So for my underrated performer, I went with the combination of Skylar Bell and Kimmeray DK.
Oh.
They're becoming a very strong duo at wide receiver for the Badgers, and then you can add in Keontez Lewis as a deep threat guy. Um, Skylar Bell and Kimmeray DK combined for 7 catches for 123 yards and 2 touchdowns. Um, as far as those two players go, the Badgers haven't had two wide receivers over 16 yards per reception since 2005.
Good God, man. It's a long time
Skylar
ago.
Bell is currently at 16.7 yards per catch, and Kimmeray DK is at 16.3 yards per catch.
I like it. I want to give Mikey a shout out. He told everybody about Skylar Bell.
He did.
He put us all on notice. So
Yep.
if you
And
weren't listening,
I've been
shame
banging
on
the
you.
drum for Kimmeray DK for 2 years, so it's good to see him playing
Yes.
a bigger role this year, because I was excited for him last year, but he was kind of overshadowed by Kendrick Pryor and Danny Davis. So it's cool to see him getting his shot this year. Um, Hopefully he'll be back next year as well.
Yep.
Um, and he should have an extra year of eligibility with the COVID years, so maybe he'll even play one more. But
Unless the
so
NFL comes
as
calling.
as far as the rest of this game goes, um, I wanted to say that I believe that this game wasn't as close as the final score indicated.
Cool.
We talked about the touchdown that shouldn't have been a touchdown,
Mhm.
and then the Purdue scored one other touchdown with what 2 minutes and 23 seconds left in the game. And then on top of that, there was a muffed punt that led to a touchdown. I'm not saying that those 21 points all wouldn't have happened, but just that's 21 points that one came off of a play that shouldn't have been a touchdown, one came off of a turnover, and the other one came with less than 3 minutes left in the game of a double-digit game.
Yep.
So really, this game wasn't as close as the final score indicated at the end. Before I throw out a couple things to still improve from this game, I want to throw something out here, and I'm guilty of it. I know I am, of seeing the Badgers winning 21-0 at the end of the first quarter. And seeing that and projecting, oh, okay, if they do the same thing for 3 more quarters, they'll win this game 84-0. It's a tough thing to not do, but we can't act like just because the Badgers are winning 21-0 or the Packers are winning, say, 14-3, for example, that the game is going to continue going the same way that it's going to go. Like I said, I am guilty of it, of seeing the Badgers up 21-0 at halftime and thinking like, oh, all right, here we go. The Badgers are going to blow Purdue out. Not keeping in mind that the Purdue is a 5-2 team. We talked about it during the preview that they're capable of hitting some deep shots.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they made some nice plays with their tight end.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to throw it out there that when things go well in the first quarter or the beginning of the games, we can't just assume that the rest of the game is going to go that way. And, this is something that we can do as fans, but the players are going to be told the same thing. So, like Jake and I have played organized sports in our lives. And if we come into a halftime and we're up by, say, 15 points at the halftime of a basketball game, our coaches are going to be like, all right, here we go. We can coast through the rest of this game. Coach is going to tell you that you want to win the game by 30. You need to keep the energy up. You need to keep doing the same things you were doing in the first half that got you that 15-point lead in the first place. If you think, oh, we have a 15-point lead, we don't have to continue to try as hard, that's what makes your 15-point lead go away. So, like I said, I'm guilty of it, of projecting what's happening into the future of the rest of the game. You can also use it on the flip side. So, and I will say, as far as the NFL goes, the Kansas City Chiefs are a perfect example of this. They've been down 3 times by double digits and won all 3 of those games this year. If the Badgers, the Packers, the Bucks, the Brewers, this is a perfect example of why you shouldn't be complaining about games in the first quarter, the first inning, whatever it may be, when there's all the rest of the game left. Because the games are not over until they are over. Let the rest of the game play out is basically what I'm saying.
If the Bucks are down 10 in the middle of the second quarter, do not run to the internet and start crying. Because first of all, we have Giannis. Second of all, the Nets defense is freaking hot trash. So feel pretty good about coming back down 10 points. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. So I do want to throw out just a couple of things the Badgers can improve on. Tackling, I was really hammering on that in the preview last week, just because Maccabee from Purdue, he's a pretty solid runner. That dude's a walk-on freshman.
Yeah, he runs hard.
He's their starting running back, and he's good.
Yeah.
So good for him, I guess. But Badgers, they still have to tackle better. Is really what I'm looking at. And then the Badgers, they did still have some drops this week. Kimberly DK dropped one on the first drive. I was on the third down. Like, you got to catch that, especially when it hits you right in the hands. Not only does that make you look better, but it also makes your quarterback look better, which could potentially chill the fan base out a little bit, because there's still people that, oh, Graham Mertz isn't the answer. Like, Jake and I have been, like I said before, when the question was asked that, Graham Mertz, Jake and I have been pretty much 100% behind him. Even in the games that he struggled, he was still doing things that gave us confidence in him.
Yep. If you're at this point in the season and you've seen all the good passes he's made and compare that to the little mistakes he's made, and you still don't think that he's like the quarterback that we need, like the best option, going forward, then I can't help you. That's all I'm going to say.
That to me is where it gets into personal territory. Or like, you just don't want to admit that you were wrong, or that you just don't like him because you don't like him.
Pride. So for my what to improve, I had tackling down as well. And then again, the thing that I keep harping on is penalties. It's like Purdue was getting their ass whooped. They only have 4 penalties for 40 yards. The Badgers had 9 penalties for 82 yards. You can't be giving teams 80 free yardage. You can't do that. And we're talking about the Badgers not being out of the race. Yeah. You're going to need to play some clean football. So clean that up. Start tackling some people. Like Tyler said, DK, you're doing great. Just catch the ball a little bit better. But other than that, I am ecstatic about the direction.
One last thing I want to toss out is third downs. Just be better on third down. I will say, though, to have 50 plays run and only 8 third downs, that is a very good number.
That's true. That's a good ratio.
Yeah, that's a good number of third downs to have if you're running 50 plays. Is there anything else you want to throw out on the Badgers before we switch to the Bucks?
No. Week off for them. So
Yeah, bye week.
Rest up.
All right. Well, on the Badgers front, as we switch from football to basketball, we will have our Badger primer next Wednesday. So we're going to preview the Badgers season next Wednesday with Mike.
Sir.
But we're going to switch to NBA basketball. The Bucks are back. We have Bucks regular season basketball. Don't have to listen to people bitch about the fact that the Bucks were 0-5 in the preseason. Like it matters.
Like it matters.
It does not matter. Nobody gets a
Yeah.
trophy for winning in the preseason. Actually, the fact of the matter is, the last time the Bucks were 0-5 in the preseason, they won a championship.
That is true. That is an actual fact.
Let's start with the Bucks and 76ers game. Yeah, there you go. I got it's right there.
Every week. I wear this thing every week, man. My favorite hat ever. I don't wear it out because I don't want anybody touching it. It stays down here. It's my podcast hat now.
My podcast hat. All right, so let's start with the Bucks and the 76ers game. What did you want to say from that one?
Wow. If you would have told me that Giannis was gonna be barely our leading scorer and we were gonna only score 90 points, I would have told you we got our ass whooped. I really would have. Look at the scores in the NBA lately. It's just crazy, man. We have 126 to 117s on a regular basis. So a 90 to 88, it's a little bit refreshing. I was actually enjoying watching that game because it feels like they let the players determine it. Not just because the Bucks won. I mean, obviously I'm happy about that. But letting the players determine the game is all I'm freaking asking for. Okay?
I've definitely hammered on that as far as like the last 2-minute situations are concerned. Like, let it be about the players and not about the whistles.
Exactly.
So I strongly agree with you on that.
The players got to execute to win games, right? They got to play defense. They got to play offense. They got to score the ball. They got to run the sets. That is the reason that they come up with them, right? We're gonna if you let that happen every week, we're gonna find out who the best team is. There's gonna be no, oh well, if this would happen or if this would happen. Well, they let them determine it. So that's exactly what happened. Even though Giannis scored 21 points, had 13 rebounds and 8 assists, 9 of 16, 1 of 3 from 3, 3 blocks. My favorite player from this game was Brook Lopez.
Yeah.
For a couple of reasons. He was 6 of 16, not the best percentage. 4 of those 6 are 3-pointers.
Yeah.
That is massive.
Like the Splash Mountain days.
Yes, he's back, baby. And I'm getting a little ahead of myself. When I go to the Rockets game, I saw him hit a couple in that game. I was like, he's back. He is back, boy. I'm saying it after 2 games. I don't care. The stroke is looking confident and the back is looking healthy. Now,
he looks young.
He's moving.
He's moving.
I still predict that they will manage his minutes towards the middle of the season like they will with everybody else. But as of right now, Brook Lopez's groove, his rhythm, whatever word you want to use, is exactly where it needs to be. And personally, I think that he had the biggest momentum swing in this game. You talked about the Badgers coming out of halftime and just absolutely shutting everything down, right? For me, the biggest momentum switch in this game, because it was still a close game, defensive battle the whole way, when Brook Lopez blocked Embiid to start the second half. Embiid was sulking on the floor. He comes down and splashes a 3. I was like, all right. I sat up on my couch. I'm like, okay, it's game. Like, that felt like a playoff atmosphere for me, because of the low scoring and the defense. And I was like, this game means something, especially, when you get into seeding, and these teams had the same record last year. So when you look at that and you're talking about seeding and home court advantage, this game, we're going to look back on the first game of the season and be like, this is one of the reasons we have the seeding above the 76ers. So Brook Lopez 5-point swing to start the second half absolutely mattered.
He did that twice.
He did.
He had one where he forced a turnover and then came down and hit a 3.
He's just, and the 4 threes, like I said, pulled Embiid out of the paint, and they were just timely, it felt like. I do want to talk about Jrue Holiday. Yes, he was bad on offense, but he was absolutely phenomenal on the defensive end of the court.
Mm-hmm.
And he got the final stop of the game when it mattered. So all the people crying about, Jrue Holiday, 2 of 15, 0 of 6 from 3, yes, that sucks. But this was a defensive battle. So where he was the best player on the floor? On the defensive end.
Yep.
And I really
Agreed.
firmly believe that he was the best player on defense for us.
I agree. And he had the toughest assignment too. I mean, he was
Yes.
going against Tyrese Maxey and James Harden.
Harden
When
when
it
he was on
when it
fire.
comes to defending James Harden, I want to give Grayson Allen and George Hill also a lot of credit. And Javon Carter wasn't as often that Javon Carter was on him, but when those guys got switched onto James Harden, there was a conceited effort by the Bucks to force James Harden towards the baseline, towards the outside of the floor. Didn't allow him to get middle, which would allow him to go either way to create opportunities for his teammates. Because as much as I don't like James Harden, because I don't respect the way that he plays, James Harden is still a very good playmaker. So, he ended up this game with 9 assists, I think. But forcing him to go left and right towards the baselines, he did end up getting, he got his floaters and he got his elbow jumpers. But having James Harden live with contested 2-pointers instead of open threes or open layups or driving and having to have another defender step up and then letting him drop down to Joel Embiid for dunks, that is still the way you need to defend James Harden. Because you're not going to stop him. So what you do is you force him to take the hardest shots that he will take, and for preferably 2 points instead of 3.
I agree with that 100%.
Bill said consistent defense no matter what happened on the floor. That's super true, especially when you get into the fourth quarter. The Bucks started like 3 of 13 on field goals in the fourth quarter and still were tied at that point in the game. But I want to go back earlier, all the way back to the beginning of the game. And what I want to go back to is the 5th starter of the game being Javon Carter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That, I know that this is something that, Bucks social media probably loved, that Javon Carter was getting his opportunity to be the starter, to have a lot of playing time. And to still be 2 for 3 in this game. He didn't take a ton of shots, but he made the first 2 that he took, and he missed the third one. But Giannis didn't miss a shot until about midway through the second quarter of this game.
He was hooping.
And he blocked not only Joel Embiid at the rim, but he also blocked Tobias Harris at the rim trying to dunk. So Giannis was also in the block party. But this game, the third quarter, belonged to Brook Lopez. Third quarter, Brook Lopez, 8 points and 2 blocks. That's Brook Lopez owned the third quarter. And he forced a couple turnovers from Embiid as well. With too many people? I'm not sure what he's replying to. So, getting into the fourth quarter, defending James Harden well, Giannis the Greek Freak. Hey, you're not going to see many bad plays from him. The bloke can play basketball. That's awesome.
I love it. I love everything about that, man. That was genuine, and that was really him. I appreciate that, man. I'm not trying to laugh at you.
That would be great if it was on Twitter and you go and you reply, make it a quote, and they turn the tweet into like a really nice like wallpapered quote. Giannis, the Greek Freak. I haven't seen many bad plays from him. That bloke can play basketball.
Like, that's just genuinely him, and I love it.
Oh, that's awesome. So we get into the fourth quarter. Drew Holiday playing great defense on James Harden. The Bucks this entire game, I believe, played extremely great defense on Joel Embiid, making things hard for him at the rim, letting him shoot from beyond the 3-point line. Because if Joel Embiid is shooting from the 3-point line, you know what it means? That means Joel Embiid's not in the paint.
Yeah.
That's a win. If he hits a 3, you shrug and you move on to the next play.
Yep.
You want Joel Embiid to have to beat you from the 3-point line, not from the low block.
Agreed.
So that, and then, when Joel Embiid was down there, Brook Lopez played great defense on him. Serge Ibaka played some good defense on him as well. I want to get into Wesley Matthews. the unsung hero of this game. He doesn't get a lot of credit because he's an old guy on a veteran contract who's just here to play defense. And Bill just said it again. You could tell the 76ers were frustrated by the way they were coming on defense. No hustle. I've said that about James Harden probably about 750,000 times because I watched their last playoff game when they were getting eliminated by the Heat and they're down by double digits and James Harden's just walking up and down the court. He literally gave up on his team and that pissed me off. Oh, it made me so mad. There's 6 dudes on the end of that bench that would love to say they checked into a playoff game, but you're just walking back, skulking back and forth. Can't stand that. That's one of the reasons I will never respect James Harden's game, despite him having things that he could do. And he's capable of playing good defense, but he chooses not to. And
like
then he then doesn't hustle. And he's forced himself off of 2 teams in the last 2 years. That dude is a cancer to every team he's been on. And you bring it up, and I'm glad you brought it up because I said it to Jake during this game that Joel Embiid was not playing with hustle. And like you said, hanging his head, and I'm like, maybe a new teammate rubbing off on him? Just throwing it out there.
Could be.
This is why chemistry and culture is important. And we talk about the Bucks basically having the exact same team from last year. That stuff matters. It matters.
So let's do this little hypothetical real quick. Since they talked about it so much last year, who won the trade between the 76ers and Nets? In my opinion, nobody won the trade. The Nets are getting literally zero, basically zero out of Ben Simmons. He's doo-doo dog water.
Only reason I could say the Nets may be winning that trade is because they got Seth Curry.
And because Simmons is younger. But, if you're really looking at it, Harden has had some games. He had 31, 8, and 9 in this game. 13 to 24, 1 of 7 from 3. So 6 of his 9 misses were from the 3-point line. He still kept jacking them up. But honestly, if I was him, I would have kept going in the paint, doing the floater, and then doing a little step back to my right. He was absolutely murdering us with that.
But you know what? You know who won that
was
trade?
Also on who am I thinking of? Big hair. Can't think of his name right now. Doesn't play no defense. He's really good at shooting on the Bucks. Can't think of his name. Blanking.
Jordan Nwora.
Jordan Nwora allowed James Harden to get on fire. I'm just going to say that right now. He was getting cooked. If it wasn't for Nwora, Harden wouldn't have done doo-doo squat. Actually forgot.
He forgot Simmons was in the NBA. Yeah, he's from Australia.
5 points per game is pretty forgettable. I'll say that.
on the subject of who won that trade, my honest answer would be the rest of the Eastern Conference.
Hey, you're not wrong. Not wrong.
Because not only are pieces being swapped back and forth, but now you're basically having to start over from chemistry and everybody knowing their role. You start all over again by swapping superstars like that.
Superstars.
Well, superstar and
money
and a tall guy.
And yeah. Bill, I agree. No comment.
So anyway, back to Wesley Matthews. I want to give Wesley Matthews credit because he finished with 8 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists in this game.
Mm-hmm.
One of the threes that he hit ended up being the game winner. Simmons is basically the opposite of Harden. Makes things harder on defense and easier on offense for the Bucks when they're defending it. Wesley Matthews hit a 3 that ended up being the game winner. He also the points that tied the game. Wesley Matthews got an offensive rebound, and then Grayson Allen cut to the basket, and Wesley Matthews found Grayson Allen as he was cutting for a layup. That tied the game late in the fourth quarter. So not only did Wesley Matthews hit the big 3 that gave the Bucks the lead back, but he also had an offensive rebound and an assist to Grayson Allen for second chance points that tied the game.
Hey, great cut by Allen too. Let's call that out.
He was so I was tweeting for Behind the Buck Pass during this game. I was doing the live tweeting for this game. I said it was an underrated aspect of this game was Grayson Allen driving to the basket. Because he was doing it with the ball and without the ball.
And
so
he was
very underrated aspect.
He was working with Lethal Shooter this offseason, and his jumper looks comfy. That's all I'm gonna say. He changed his
Yeah.
number, so that might help him. I don't know. It's one of those weird things.
So I wanted to give Wesley Matthews credit. And then got to make your free throws when you want to beat good teams. The Bucks were able to escape with this one, but looking at fundamental failures, this is something that I do for every basketball game. That comprises of three things, which is missed free throws, second chance points, and points off turnovers. These are three categories that I believe stem from the three main fundamentals of basketball, being making your free throws, boxing out your opponents, which is where second chance points comes from, and then taking care of the ball, not committing turnovers, which is where points off turnovers comes from. So I compile these points. I did it. I started this with right after the All-Star break last year. And the Bucks lost to the Nets coming out of the All-Star break by 3 points. And in that game, 59 fundamental failure points, which is missed free throws, second chance points, and points off turnovers. I went back and I looked at the entire season and I added it all up. The Bucks had an average of 33 points for fundamental failures per game, being those three categories added up. The Bucks missed 5 free throws this game. They only gave up 5 second chance points, which is a great number. It's very low. And only 13 points off turnovers, which is also still pretty low, for a total of 23. So this is a situation where the Bucks won this game by 2 points and were 10 points under their fundamental failure average from last year. That's massive. You can point to that and say, if the Bucks don't play play fundamentally, they don't win that game. That's before you even get to field goal percentages.
Yeah.
So fundamentals absolutely massive for this game. And then I just want to throw Bobby Portis's 11 points and 10 rebounds. That's a very Bobby Portis stat line.
Yeah, I agree.
Is there anything else you want to say about the 76ers game?
I think one thing before I forget is we talked about James Harden having 9 assists. He had the ball in his hands a lot. The point guard on that team is Tyrese Maxey. 0 assists.
Ooh.
15 points, 2 rebounds, 0 assists, 6 of 13, 0 for 3 from 3. And think about his points that he scored. A lot of them were on leak outs.
Yep.
So, I mean, I would be damn near 10 of the 15 were probably from leak outs.
I can think of at least 6 to 8.
I can think of
on like
I could probably think of 8. Yeah. So think about that. Maxey not playing well. Embiid being a -10, a 6 of 21. I mean, the Bucks are going to make it tough on this. I mean, we are absolutely the worst matchup for Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We didn't even have Chris Middleton available for this game.
Or Pat Connaughton.
Or Joe Ingles.
Yeah. Think about all those. I mean, the Bucks.
You add 2 lethal shooters and a reliable 3-point shooter and hustle guy to this game, on a game where the Bucks struggled shooting. Sheesh.
We are Philadelphia's nightmare this year. And we're about to find out. I mean, the Nets defense is fucking horrible. They are literally last in almost every category. The only thing they're not last in is rebounding, I believe, which they're 4th last. But, Ben Simmons.
Yeah, 2 categories the Bucks are regularly in the top 5 on, but
right.
That's what it is.
Right. That's the difference between us and everybody else but the Celtics. Because the Celtics still play defense. But
yes,
the thing about the Celtics, they got big old heads now that they made the finals one time. That's all I'm going to say.
We'll see what happens with the Celtics. You had to do a fist fight with the Raptors? Like, really?
Bro, did you see what Grant Williams did?
I didn't see what he did. No, I saw that he got suspended today, though.
He got like a call on him. He was trying to take a charge, and he like slid. And as he was standing up, he was like trying to argue. He bumped into one of the refs, and then as he got tossed out, there was a woman ref. He pointed at her and he called her a bitch.
Wow.
Keep it classy, Boston. Yeah, James, get your boys.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot James is a Celtics fan.
James, that's the only thing I hate about you. Because I don't even hate the Red Sox, but I hate the Celtics. I do. I hate the Celtics. Can't stand them. That
Yeah,
court is
and
not as cool as they say. Sorry.
now they got some Bucks leftovers on their team yet too. Um, this is a good question. I think this is a fair transition.
Ooh.
So Bill asked, with Chris coming back, Connaughton and Ingles healing up. Chris and Connaughton are pretty close on their return dates. They're both projected to miss about 3 weeks. Ingles healing up. Do we still go for Crowder? If you can work a deal that this is tough, because what it does essentially is it forces you to include Grayson Allen.
Yep.
And you don't get a shooting guard in return. So what it does is it essentially tells you that you're going to be either using 2 point guards a lot, you're going to have Pat Connaughton playing shooting guard, or you're going to have Chris Middleton playing shooting guard.
Middleton.
Now, the last one, when it comes to the playoffs, totally fine with Chris Middleton at shooting guard. I actually love that. Yeah. If you run a lineup of, just picture, you run a lineup of Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Jay Crowder, Giannis, and Brooke or Bobby. That is a massive lineup. Absolutely massive.
Defense.
And defense. You could also throw Wesley Matthews into that mix, or Javon Carter into that mix. Adding Jay Crowder, including a deal like, say we do Grayson Allen and Jordan, or can't do Jordan Nwora until
January.
December-ish. You got to wait 3 months from his signing date. So it would be around Christmas that Jordan Nwora could be traded.
Merry Christmas, you're leaving.
Yeah, right. Say they did Grayson Allen and George Hill for Jay Crowder.
Yep.
You're looking at pretty much right now Wesley Matthews being your shooting guard. You might even have to get Marjon Beauchamp, which is another thing we'll talk about in a minute here. And then you're maybe waiting for Pat Connaughton to get back. The longer it takes for a deal to get done, I think the lower the price tag gets. And that's where you could almost get away with doing Jay Crowder for Grayson Allen straight up. The Bucks could do that. They could take it in because he makes about $1.5 million more than Grayson Allen. So that would be less than 25%. So the Bucks could do that. It's really hard to project the shooting guard position if the Bucks do it.
I don't know if I want him, bro.
I want him, but it's tough to project the shooting guard position with him.
And I'm not saying that it's the whole reason, but I just go back to the Josh Hader thing, and I think about what that did to the locker room and how close-knit this team is. Now, I think the Bucks are built differently because of their leadership is different and there's less players involved. But the thing for me
and Josh Hader, though.
I know, and I'm not comparing those two players specifically. I'm comparing the camaraderie and the brotherhood that is this team. And I'm not saying that Jay Crowder wouldn't fit in, because he absolutely is a PJ Tucker type player, which apparently every Bucks fan thinks that we need. But we have enough toughness on this team. I don't think that we're missing any toughness. Plus, Giannis is just continuing to get better. This year's Giannis is better than the championship Giannis. I firmly believe that. I do. I firmly believe that. And Giannis in the finals was.
Rockets game, I'll tell you that.
He was amazing. Oh, yeah. The Rocket game, that was a whole nother story, because that man was on another planet. He was skyrocketing in that game. Let's just say that.
Look at this guy.
Thought of it on the spot. Not very good, but I think I wouldn't pull the trigger on a guy like that. That's why, when you asked me that question last week about Jordan Clarkson, I think a Jordan Clarkson is a much better fit just because he's instant offense. I don't think we need a guy that can shoot threes and play defense. We have enough of those guys.
Right.
I really firmly believe that. So I'm not saying that it's a bad idea. If we trade for Jay Crowder, hell yeah, I'm on board with it. But would I do it? I'm not 100% sure.
What I will say, so I want to say a couple things. One, on the chemistry aspect of it, Wesley Matthews and Jay Crowder played together at Marquette. So there is some built-in chemistry there.
That was 100 years ago.
Another thing I want to throw out there is, like I said, the longer a time period goes by, the lower the price tag gets. If we get into a point where Jake Crowder starts, getting antsy and saying, "Hey, Phoenix, get something done, or I want out," and they get into a buyout situation, that's where I think the Bucks would definitely pull the trigger. Yeah, James Crowder definitely has gotten better since he was a Celtic. I think he really leaned into his role as a 3-and-D guy.
I'll say this. The one reason that I would really love to get Crowder is because I know there's one less Buck killer out there that could kill us.
Dude, I know.
For
Even when
some
he was on the
reason,
Grizzlies, it's like, dude just makes 1,000 threes.
he makes like 17 threes going into the game. Oh, now he's going to make 8 in one game. All right, that's cool. F me, I guess. Why is this happening?
Yeah. It'd be cool if we could get Jaren Jackson Jr. for the same reason, but that dude didn't get paid big time.
Yeah, the Grizzlies are fun to watch.
Yeah.
As we're talking about the Grizzlies, but they're fun.
I love Jaren Jackson Jr. If we're talking about like favorite players outside the Bucks, like he's up there for me, even though he kills the Bucks.
Yeah, he's a stud. I mean, I love Morant. Give me some Morant all day.
Yeah,
one of the reasons I love
would
Morant.
Be a nice addition.
One of the reasons I love Morant so much is because they get Bulls fans so riled up when they compare him to Rose. Like, yeah, he reminds everybody of Derrick Rose except you, apparently. For some reason, whatever. I don't know what that is.
Matt said he was late because he had to go buy a PS5.
I mean, that's a good day, Matt. You can miss our podcast for going to buy a PS5. That's a great day.
It's fun. It's fun getting a new console. It feels like, it's like Christmas time when it happens.
Yeah, man.
Christmas came early for Matt, apparently.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. I bought a couple
James,
Christmas
if you want to switch to being a Grizzlies fan, like we would get it. You already got the built-in geography of it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you'd also have to be a Titans fan, which would be better than your current team right now. I mean, better than ours too. Don't take that the wrong way, but
yeah. Well, we'll find out on Thursday Night Football.
We will,
which will probably end up being like a 9-6 final score or something. Given the way Thursday night games have gone.
Right.
All right, let's go to the Bucks and Rockets game. What did you see from that game that stood out to you?
I saw Giannis, and then I saw Giannis, and then I saw Giannis again, and then I saw him do another Euro step and dunk from Giannis. Holy camole. I'll tell you this.
There it is.
The first thing that I noticed is Giannis gave Jabari Smith, that's his name, right? Gave Jabari Smith all of his welcome to the NBA moments. All of them happened in this game. The first one when he did the step through.
69 and ones in this game.
Dude, he did, for real. He did that step through and he dunked on him. I guarantee Jabari Smith was like, this motherfucker is different. He is different. Bro, he missed 4 shots. 4. He was getting guarded by 4 people at one point. Still scoring the damn ball.
Yep.
Dude, it is ridiculous how good his touches around the rim for how big of a guy he is. And that sounds weird to say because big guys should be able to score, but his ability to contort his body and just do whatever the hell he wants with that basketball down there is insane. We got a couple flexes in this game.
Yeah. Bill, he played 27 minutes and change. Dude, he hit one. It was early in the game where
yeah, he scored 44 points.
It was early in the game. I had so many notes from this game because it was just like, oh, Giannis dirty Euro and one layup. Giannis, another and one. Giannis, Otto Lopez. Giannis, Giannis, another and one. Euro and one dunk. So
Giannis,
there was one. He hit like a high glass layup and got an and one on it. It's like I'm not saying that this is where he's going, but it was like a Kyrie Irving type layup off the high glass for an and one.
At 6'11". That's impossible.
And built like a damn truck.
That is impossible to stop. Good luck.
If that dude, okay, if a Ford F-150 is doing Ford Mustang things with that type of finesse and speed, and then on top of the power that he has, and then he can just control that enough to get a soft touch layup off the top of the square to go in.
Dude,
I don't give a shit that he can't shoot. I don't care. He doesn't have to.
he's made he's 50% on threes, 3 of 6.
Yeah.
He's hitting mid-range pull-ups, and his jumper's looking more and more smooth every single year.
He hit a catch and shoot 3 in this game.
Yes. I mean, dude, he was everything. And Drew Holiday was good.
Yes,
I don't hear nobody bitching and complaining about Drew Holiday.
Yep.
He was great in this game. Double-double, 19, 5,
Almost like
and 10.
you should wait for a bigger sample size.
Yeah, I mean.
It happened with Devin Williams. Did it not happen with Devin Williams? Anthony, you probably remember this. At the beginning of the Brewers season, Devin Williams struggled in the first series against the Cubs. Dude literally had 97 innings pitched in his career and had like a 3.19 ERA, but he had a 9 ERA in his 1 inning total that he pitched against the Cubs, and people are freaking the fuck out. Let the sample size get a little bit bigger.
Can you imagine what life was like when the newspaper was the only news? What was life like? Did people just bitch at each other all day about shit that happened?
I bet there was like a lot of swearing at people in the mirror and like spouses in other rooms just hearing guys shouting at the newspaper.
Yeah. See, Matt gets it. Matt gets it.
The thing with Holiday is that his offensive game can be inconsistent, but his defensive game never will be. I said it after the first game. He's going to have his 2 for 15 nights. He's going to have, some 3 for 12s. He's going to have that, just like Middleton will. But he's also going to have, like this game, he had an 8 of 15. He'll have some 8 of 12 games. He'll have some 7 of 9 games. He'll have the hyper efficient games, and he'll have some bad games. So offensive consistency might not be Drew Holiday's strong suit, but when he's on, he's on. And his step back is so dirty, I can't handle it.
Yeah, that step back is filthy.
So aside from Giannis having 10,001s, what else stood out to you from this game?
The Bucks keeping the energy with a big lead. That was something important to me. The Bucks are just up, I believe. I don't want to misquote it, but at this point they were up either 18 or 19 points. And it was, middle late area in the second quarter. And what do I see Giannis do? He gets in a defensive stance and pulls his shorts up. I'm like, this boy is locked in, bro. He is locked in for 82 games and then winning 16 of those mother effers in the playoffs. He is ready.
Yeah.
There is no better leader in the world of sports than Giannis Antetokounmpo. This man is so driven by success. It's almost disgusting. It's almost like, slow down, guy. Slow down. And, he's like any great athlete where he's got to know when it's over, and we're gonna discuss, I have some great stuff for Friday, by the way. I already have my notes done. I have some great stuff about Aaron Rodgers, but he is just so driven by success. It's insane. He's just entering his prime. He's already a 5-time all-defensive player. He's already a 2-time MVP, a champion. The only thing he hasn't done really is win the scoring title, which he probably could if he wanted to.
Oh, yeah. If he played 35, 36 minutes, he'd win it easily.
Oh, yeah.
But he only plays like 32.
That's so stupid. He played 28 minutes, bro, and scored 44 points. That's dumb. Okay?
Yeah.
That's dumb. And I agree with Matt. Kobe really left his mark on Giannis, and I love it.
Yep.
He did. He definitely has the Mamba mentality.
Yeah. And I've said that about Kobe Bryant, that I didn't really like him during his playing career, but I really, really liked what he was doing after.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to, helping players grow and set goals for themselves and instilling mentalities with them and stuff like that. I really like that about Kobe Bryant. And Giannis is definitely carrying on that legacy of that mentality.
And everybody thought it was going to be Irving. Think about that. Everybody thought it was going to be Irving because Irving talked about how much he looked up to Kobe and all that stuff. Nowhere near. What would Kobe have said to him about missing games? To go to his sister's birthday party.
Yeah.
Like, what would Kobe have said about this Nets team? Think about it. He'd be disgusted. I don't like
Yeah,
Kobe
James
either
didn't
for
like
obvious
him.
reasons, but he was a great idol for basketball players. I mean, I totally see Giannis mentoring a lot of guys in the future. I don't think Giannis is going to be that guy. I really don't.
Honestly, when it comes to Giannis, I think he's going to be kind of like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, where he kind of hangs out in the shadows, but you see him once in a while, and he's always like, I think he's going to be really philanthropic. I think Giannis is going to build up his money in his career, and I think he's going to give a lot back. Not only to Milwaukee, but I think he's going to spend a lot of time in Greece when he's done.
Yeah.
And try to make his home a better place. Because I think that would mean a lot, not only to Giannis, but also to Giannis's family. And I think it would also mean a lot to Giannis as far as his parents are concerned.
Yeah. I definitely think
So,
that.
when I'm sure when Giannis is getting close to being done 10 years from now, he'll be thinking about legacy and stuff like that a lot. You listen to the way that Giannis talks, he's really, really, really mature.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, he'll talk about legacy, and, he's got it's on his shoes, that I am my father's legacy. I think he's going to do a lot of stuff for the country of Greece, in addition to sticking around in Milwaukee, because that's obviously where his family is now. But
Did you see his, this is kind of a question for both you, Matt and Tyler. Did you see his interview where he talked about what he wants to do after his career? I'm sure you saw it, Tyler. He talked about how he just wants to disappear. And then he talked about Tim Duncan. He said,
that's
where
right.
the hell is Tim Duncan? Like, for real though, where the hell is Tim Duncan? Tim Duncan
I don't know. He's probably wearing jorts somewhere.
Man, he just showed up, and one day he had dreads. I was like, what the fuck? That's not the Tim Duncan I remember. What the hell happened to this guy? But I think Giannis is just going to disappear, be a family man. He'll just focus on his family, take care of his brothers.
Come and talk to the Bucks in training camp before the season and stuff.
Yeah, I could definitely see him doing shit like that. But yeah, I think he's just gonna he just wants to lay low. He's not a limelight guy, which is the 100% the reason we don't think he's going to a big city. He's not that kind of guy. He doesn't like that publicity. He is absolutely 100% okay if he's competing for titles living in Milwaukee, which, yes, is shocking to people, but he's not American. He doesn't need to live in LA. He doesn't need to live in New York or Miami. Like, he goes to those places whenever he wants after the season is over. So he can still do that. But I think he's okay playing in Milwaukee and just competing. And, he's a loyal guy, obviously. He's all about family. So I don't see him leaving. I think after his career, he'll probably just lay low.
Giannis won't be the guy that's watching games courtside all the time when his career's over.
Yeah. And yeah, I know, man. I was being sarcastic.
So on the subject of Giannis, I have a feeling you have some of the same stats written down that I do.
For what?
For Giannis.
Probably, but I'll let you go first. Go ahead.
All right, because I have two. I have two big stats about Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, hey, I told you, if you're in Wisconsin, let us know. So two things with Giannis. This is so nuts that he even did this. He is the first player to ever have 40 points and 10 rebounds on 80% field goal shooting, which is just an insane, stupid number, under 30 minutes.
Why is that a stat? And why is Giannis the guy to do it? Why is that a stat?
40 and 10 on 80% shooting in under 30 minutes. That's insane, dude.
That tells me that he whooped your ass. That's all I heard. He whooped somebody's ass.
44 and 10, or 40 and 10, and he overdid that because he finished with 44 and 13.
12, but yeah.
44 and 12 in 28 minutes.
He needed 28 minutes to kick your ass, dude. Think about that.
Dude, if he makes his free throws, he drops 50 on you. Easy.
Dude, he still could have dropped 50. He could have had a 50 ball.
And then Giannis is the first player in Bucks history to score 44 points in under 28 minutes.
Not shocking.
Literally never been done in Bucks history.
Everything that's going to happen in Bucks history is going to have Giannis's name next to it.
Well, guess what? Giannis has more things with his names on it in Bucks history. So, Giannis passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the most field goals made in Bucks history, and Giannis also passed Sidney Moncrief for the most free throws made in Bucks history.
Very nice.
So, 2 more things that Giannis is on top of in Bucks history, and he's 27.
That's ridiculous. Matt, you literally picked one of the few days I'm not allowed to leave my family because that is my stepson's birthday. So, sorry.
All right. So, a couple other things with this game. Grayson Allen had a lot of open looks in this game. He didn't make a ton of them. He is he's retooling his 3-point shots. That is worth noting with Grayson Allen. If he starts knocking those down, he had a lot of open looks. If Grayson Allen is knocking his threes down at a consistent clip, the Bucks will absolutely destroy teams. If we're talking about the Bucks' 5th, 6th scoring option, and he's giving you 12 points by making 4 threes, the Bucks will destroy people.
That's one less person to help out.
Yeah. So Houston cut the lead to 6. The Bucks followed that up by going on a 15-6 run. Jordan Nwora started this game 2 for 3. Drew Holiday started this game 5 for 5, passing well. He blocked a 3-point shot, which is, worth mentioning because the Bucks 3-point defense was a point of emphasis. So he blocked a 3. George Hill was the first off the bench in this game just because Grayson Allen had 2 early fouls. So people that still hate George Hill for some reason, don't freak out. He was only the first off the bench because Grayson Allen was in foul trouble early in the game. It took less than 2 minutes for Drew Holiday to match his field goal total from game 1. Bucks started this game up 13-0. Brook Lopez was still looking good from 3. He started 3 for 3. Brook Lopez hit a jab step 3, doing the world's slowest Carmelo Anthony impression. It was not smooth, but he did. He caught the ball up here. He pulled it down. He jabbed once, and he's like, I should have shot it. I'm still going to shoot it. And he shot it, and he cashed it. So, like I said, the world's slowest Carmelo Anthony impression. But he made it, which is the important thing. So at one point, the Bucks have a lineup of Drew Holiday, Javon Carter, Grayson Allen, Bobby Portis, and Serge Ibaka. It's a really weird lineup when you think about it. But
I can see how it works, though.
It still was a plus lineup. And when you get into a lineup like that that's made up of 3 small guys, well, Drew Holiday is a decent size. But then you're looking at Bobby Portis and Serge Ibaka. And then out of that lineup, Bobby Portis is hitting threes on you. Like what do you do? Like, you got 3 guards out there, 2 bigs, and then one of the big guys is the one that's hitting threes on you.
You say congratulations.
Brook Lopez too. His shooting is fun to watch. He had a swat and snatch blocked shot in this game. Like, he literally blocked the shot and then pinned the ball on his hip all in one motion.
Yep.
Like, he looks like 2018 Brook Lopez.
Yes, he does.
To get into the second half, Giannis, that's where he hit that high glass and 1. Then he hit a walk-up 3. Giannis just casually dribbles the ball up the floor, 18 seconds on the shot clock, pulls the 3, hits it. Just turn the lights off and go home. Like,
yep.
That's how it feels. One thing I will say, the Bucks need to work on turnovers, especially when they have turnovers that turn into 3-pointers for the other team. Houston did this well. They ended up getting an 8-0 run. And then Javon Carter kind of got into it a little bit. So I think it was Kenyon Martin Jr. that he was talking a little bit of trash to him, and forces 2 missed and stole an inbound pass in a 3-play sequence. Like, Javon Carter's got the dog in him. Javon Carter is a dog.
Yes, he does.
So I love watching Javon Carter, honestly. He's so fun to watch on both sides of the ball. I'm excited to see him play a full season with the Bucks.
Yes.
Brook Lopez ended up finishing this game with 5 blocked shots. Brook Lopez absolutely filled the stat sheet for this game. He only finished with 9 points, but 9 points, 3 blocks, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals.
That's what he does.
Dude just filled the stat sheet.
He does all the dirty work, man.
See, second half, like I said, Giannis hit a catch and shoot 3. Doing back to the basket footwork. Like, Giannis is a modern day Shaq that can also play outside of the paint and dribble and pass.
Mm-hmm.
Javon Carter is a PJ Tucker replacement. That's actually a really interesting thought.
Hey, that's your 6th man of the year. You gotta post about it, man.
That's right. I forgot about that.
I didn't freaking forget. It's on paper in ink.
Yeah, I'm glad you wrote that down. You know, Matt, the only reason I would say no to that is just because PJ Tucker could guard all 5 positions. You're not going to see Javon Carter guarding Kevin Durant at all. But when it comes to the guy that brings the defensive energy, like in a massive way and a not back down from anybody way, I do like Javon Carter as the dog mentality guy. So I am with that to a certain degree until you get to the all 5 positions.
I want to bring up one more thing I'm not letting Matt off the hook for. Matt picked Purdue to win the game against Wisconsin 28-24.
Oh.
I'm not letting you off the hook, Matt. Not letting you off. I'm sorry, buddy. You were pretty close on score. Just flip it, and you would have been a genius because we won 35-24. But I'm not letting you off the hook for that one, man.
The only thing keeping Javon Carter from winning MVP is on the bench. He's not on the bench. He started. Javon Carter's the 5th starter right now. Oh, that's awesome. All right, so Drew Holiday was back to form. He finished 8 of 15, 19 points, 10 assists. He had 5 rebounds and 3 blocks as well. Drew Holiday filled the stat sheet. MarJon Beauchamp and AJ Green made their debuts. Now, here we go. So, because I already saw people complaining about Budenholzer not giving MarJon Beauchamp minutes in a blowout, we are literally in game 2. It is game 2 of the season, and people are already complaining that Budenholzer isn't giving Beauchamp minutes. We are 2 games into the season. MarJon Beauchamp does not know anything about being an NBA player yet. He hasn't done a lot of travel. The Bucks are on a 6-game homestand right now. So let Beauchamp acclimate for a while before saying that he needs to be playing double-digit minutes just because the Bucks are winning in a blowout. We are 2 games into the season. It is too early to be complaining about dumb shit like this. If it's January and the Bucks are winning a game by 25, yes, then you put Beauchamp in for 10, 12 minutes. Game 2.
Wow.
Way too early to be complaining.
We also know that we're going to get games where we just sit everybody. We're going to let the young go. That's when you're going to get to see the most out of MarJon Beauchamp. That's all I'll say about that.
So, way too early to be complaining that he's not getting minutes because we're 2 games into the season. We are literally less than 3% done with the entire season. Way too early to be complaining. Especially when the Bucks are 2-0. So, I already mentioned Giannis having the 2 milestones. Serge Ibaka, Jordan Nwora, and George Hill all added 9 points apiece. George Hill added 6 assists, which is really good when you consider it. I mean, George Hill, 9 points and 6 assists off the bench in limited minutes. I will take that every single day. Serge Ibaka added 5 rebounds to go with his 9 points. So you get 9 points and 5 rebounds from Serge Ibaka, the 8th dude off the bench. And then Jordan Nwora, he's got to cut down his turnovers. He's got to cut them down. If he wants his Christmas present to say, Merry Christmas, you're staying with the Bucks, he's got to cut down his turnovers.
You want to know how to fix that with Jordan Nwora? You tell him you get 3 to 4 dribbles to make a move and decide if you got a shot. Because sometimes he gets a little dribble happy.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you see a lane, you pick that and you go. You figure it out in 3 to 4 dribbles. If you can't do that, move it. That's how it should be for everybody. But
I'm
a
with
young
that.
guy like Nawara who's still trying to figure himself out, especially on the offensive side as a playmaker, because we all know he
Yeah,
can shoot. He's not
right,
afraid to shoot the damn ball.
right.
But 3 to 4 dribbles, boom, go. Figure it out.
I'm with that. So fundamental failures from this game: the Bucks missed 8 free throws. They allowed 14 second chance points, which is kind of high, and 16 points off turnovers. That is definitely high.
Mhm.
Um, Turnovers is one thing you can control. Just don't turn the ball over. Just don't do it. Um, it just creates such an easy opportunity for the other team to score going in the other direction. Um, 38 fundamental failure points this game. That'd be about 5 points above last year's average. But the Bucks still did win this game. A lot in part due to Giannis's dominance.
Yeah.
And then Bobby Portis had 13 and 8 this game, or was it 11 and 8?
I think it was
It was
11.
13 and 8. He had 11 in the first game. So
Okay.
really just a team effort. Everybody that played contributed. Marjan Beauchamp even got 2 points in the game.
Lefty lay, bro. He looked like Jordan, bro. He did the Jordan leg.
So I mean, it really, even Wesley Matthews, because I saw people dogging Wesley Matthews for not scoring, which annoys me because there is so much more to this game than just scoring. So Wesley Matthews didn't score. I had some all written out. He only recorded 1 rebound. That was really the only stat that he recorded. So 0 points, 1 rebound. He was still plus 10. We get
Shows that.
into tonight's game. Game that starts in about 50 minutes. And we talk about Ben Simmons. His 3 games, minus 26, minus 3, minus 16. And that dude scores, rebounds, and assists. Marjan Beauchamp 2030 MVP.
Hey, we'll be winning titles if we get another MVP on this damn team. So I'm on board with
Um,
that.
so for Wesley Matthews to not record any points, only record 1 rebound, and still be plus 10, the dude plays
Yeah.
defense.
And
So he still brings a lot to the table, even if he's not scoring.
he switches, he talks. He's a great leader on the court. There's nothing
He
wrong
really
with
is.
Wesley Matthews.
And he's since Beauchamp was drafted, like Wesley Matthews has him like under the wing. Which is a clever reference because Wesley Matthews went to Golden State and he was a Marquette Golden Eagle. So
That's true.
All right. You got anything else you want to throw out from the Rockets game?
No, absolutely not.
All right. So I know there's only 2 games and, there's not a ton of stats to throw out there because everything is basically just going to be the average of 2. But if you had to pick 2 players and an underrated performer for the Bucks power pair, an underrated performer, who would they be?
I think my 2 players, well, Giannis.
Yep.
And then the other one, I probably picked Brook Lopez. And then my
Mhm.
underrated performer, George Hill. People talking about George Hill, dogging George Hill. I wanted to pick Bobby, but that would have been a popular pick. And me and you, we do this all the time. We do this every week. So kind of wanted to go a little bit off the beaten path. So I think George Hill's been very, very good this year. You mentioned his stats in the Rockets game. He also didn't miss a shot. He only took 2 of them, but he was 2 for 2 in the game against the 76ers, playing defense. Obviously, everybody was playing defense and passing the ball. So he's doing all the right things.
Yeah, I also would have gone with Giannis and Brook for the power pair. I really love the George Hill pick. That's a very fair pick, and he's deserving of it because he's played well through the first 2 games. I was kind of feeling partial to Wesley Matthews just because, like I said, despite not scoring, still finished plus 10, still making an impact on the game. And he was really an unsung hero of the 76ers game. He plays defense in that game too. 8 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists for like your 10th guy off the bench. I mean, the Bucks go like 10 deep.
Oh, yeah.
And get contributions out of all 10. It's not just giving guys rest as your contribution. Like, they're giving you stuff.
No, I agree.
For Wesley Matthews to give the Bucks 8 points in the season opener against a team that's going to be a contender, not for a title in my opinion, but for a second round exit, that's still a good team to beat and to perform well against.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So We'll start with tonight's game. What's next for the Bucks? They play tonight against Brooklyn, Friday night against the Knicks, Saturday night against the Hawks. My family will be there for that game on Saturday night. That'll be exciting.
Nice. Nice. That's a great
That'll
game to go
be
to, buddy.
that'll be Lily's first time in Fiserv Forum. It'll be Layla's first Bucks game ever. We took Lily to one Bucks game
At the
at the Bradley Center.
Mhm.
And it'll be my first Bucks game at Fiserv. I've been there for a Marquette game, so yeah,
So
it'll be
awesome.
fun.
And Courtney's first game, obviously at Fiserv.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, she went to the Marquette game with me. So her and I have been to Fiserv before, but not for our Bucks game.
Make sure you bring your kids to the section where they have all the player hands and get pictures with their hands on like Giannis and Brooke and stuff like that. Giannis's hands are just something else, bro. It's like, I'm like, what? You make me feel so small, man.
Dude, when you see all the promos of Giannis holding a basketball, it's like when we used to play dunk ball and we play with the little ones. It's like it just looks like he's just gonna go like this and crush it like a soda can.
He probably could if he wanted to, but that's scary. Why is his hand so big? His thumb is so long, dude. It's crazy.
You get to see Trae Young's crappy hair up close. He looks like somebody. He looks like somebody dropped a Tootsie Pop on the floor.
He does. He does.
Like,
I agree with that.
I mean, it is what it is. But I know Jake's got some good stuff for the Bucks and Nets tonight. All four of these games are home games. The last one being Monday against the Pistons. I will let Jake say what he's going to say about tonight, and then Jake and I are going to give a record prediction for the next four games between now and next Wednesday.
So I was watching NBA today, and they did some interesting stuff. So he said, literally so gross, just shave it off, LOL. Nobody wants to be a Mr. Clean, okay? And I'm just going to talk. In Black culture, hair is like a big discussion.
Dude, Javon Carter's bald.
I know, but nobody wants to be bald.
But he's bald with a beard, though.
Now, here's another thing. Before we get too far off the beaten path, every bald guy has a nice big beard. That's a thing. That is actually a thing. And my beard started growing in better the last year or so. And I'm going bald. I'm going bald. I'm like, ever since I read that meme, I'm like, why is that becoming my life? I don't want that. I don't want that meme to be my life. I don't want that. Okay, anyways, back to NBA.
Hold on. Because we're on this rabbit trail now, because we're here,
God damn it.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think I'd rather be bald than not have any facial hair.
Oh, easily, bro. I go from like a solid 3.5 to like a 6 with a beard. Like, I'm like, a girl looks at me like, not bad with a beard. With no beard, they're just like, yeah, stop looking at me, weirdo. Like, those are the scales that I live in.
Like, I feel like I look like much better with a beard. If I walked into a party without a beard, it'd be like, holy shit, why is that kid so tall and how did he get in here without his parents?
I agree with that. That's funny.
That's what I look like without a beard. I look like a man-child.
That's fair. Chantel, my girlfriend, I had the beard growing pretty long, and she likes the big long beard, but I'm like, I just hate it. Like, you gotta like comb it, and you gotta put like the beard shampoo and shit. Now I'm like, nah, not doing that no more. So I shaved it off, and she's like, oh my god, you look like 9 years old. I'm like, what 9-year-old is rocking a beard? Like, come on now.
What 9-year-old is 6'5", 270?
Yeah, come on. That's a massive 9-year-old, and he definitely is getting an offer from Alabama. But that's a story for another day.
My wife's never seen me without a goatee. If she did, she'd run.
Man, all right, we're here. So I'm going to tell it. Dad, I'm sorry. I love you. One time, my dad shaved all his facial hair off, and me and my brother ran from him. Like, literally, Curtis, my brother who's been on the show, if you've been a follower the whole time, we literally ran away from him because we were like, we do not know who you are, stranger. Why are you talking to me? And why do you know my name? So, Bill, do not shave off the goatee. Don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it. Just keep it. It's
bad idea.
Just keep it neat, and you're good to go.
Yep, you're good to go. Now, we are going to jump back out of the rabbit hole, and we're going to talk about NBA today. So, they talked about Giannis and Kevin Durant's head-to-head stance, And I was like, it's pretty close. I mean, especially for when Giannis was coming up, KD was already in his prime when he was playing them on the Thunder. So wins, 9 wins for Durant, 7 wins for Giannis. Pretty close. Giannis also has the only playoff series win. Remember that. So that's very important. Kevin Durant's stats, points per game, rebounds, and assists. He averages 26.6 points, 7.9 rebounds, and 6.3 assists, where Giannis is averaging 27.6, 9.4, and 4.9. So they've both been really good. They both can score. They both can rebound. Durant's assist number is actually shocking to me, averaging 6 assists. So
it feels like the Bucks trying to force the ball out of his hands.
Exactly. And make like Westbrook or whoever else beat them.
Joe Harris or
yeah. So then then they did a thing where they picked a clutch performer, the best duo, X Factor, role players, and the winner of tonight's game. So for clutch performer, 1 pick Kevin Durant, 1 pick Kyrie Irving. I was like, okay, this is gonna be a dumb segment. Like, you don't want Giannis just because he can't shoot a 30-footer? Whatever. Then they said best duo. Tim Legler was one of the people. He picked the Nets duo. And then former Badger running back was from Milwaukee. His sister, she was a Stanford basketball player. Forgot her name. But she was the other one. She picked the Bucks duo. And she said because they play defense. And together they have 9 all-defensive teams. Drew Holiday and Giannis. That's nuts.
That's nasty. 9 defensive teams between those two?
Yes.
Cool.
So then X Factor, she picked Steve Nash. And she said Steve Nash has to figure out a way to get them to play defense. That's why I heard about all this defensive stuff, about how they're like basically last in all of them. And rebounding, they're 4th last. So they have 0 physicality on that team. And he picked Ben Simmons. I'm like,
I'm not mad at either one of those.
I'm not mad at either one of them either. And his reasons for Ben Simmons was like, and he was kind of laughing at him for averaging 5 points per game too. He's like, how are you going to be called a star? How are you going to beg for all this money? How are you going to force your way off a team if you're going to average 5 points? And he said, to your point, he has to find a way to play defense without fouling. Because you talked about how he fouled out of a few games already. So then role players, they both picked Bucks because the Bucks have better role players.
Yeah, that's the Bucks are arguably, and in my opinion, not really close, the deepest team in the NBA.
I'd agree with that.
We're talking about them going 10 deep while 3 of their main players are injured.
Seriously, bro. That's stupid.
You talk about a team. Dude, just hold on. If you talk about a team, yes, he's fouled out twice out of 3 games so far. You talk about a team that can go 13 deep. Dude.
I feel good about it.
Oh, my God. You're talking about a team that can play you 5-on-5 twice and have 3 subs.
Think about that, bro.
That's nuts, dude.
Yes, that's nuts. So then the last thing, they both picked a winner for tonight. They both picked the Bucks. They picked it at the same time because they knew. Which brought me back to the clutch performer. I'm like, how the fuck do you both pick? But whatever. You both picked the Bucks to win, so I'm not going to complain about it. The Bucks are going to beat the Nets tonight. It's going to be a wonderful thing. And Matt, that is what's going to be your therapy for the Packers losing. Because when the Packers lost, I was like, God damn it. I don't get the Bucks until Wednesday, man. I gotta live,
dude.
I gotta live. They got a
back-to-back on Friday and Saturday, but they went from Saturday to Wednesday.
All about the Benjamins, baby. They wanted this matchup on ESPN. That's what it was. That's 100% what it was. I don't care. Nobody's gonna change my mind. But Bucks, yeah, Giannis should be everybody's therapy.
That's a really fair thing.
Yes,
because not only is he, obviously a great basketball player and something great to watch, but like he's like a legit good person too. Yes. So you can watch his post game stuff and actually get some good stuff to take away for life too.
Yes, he's
which is hopefully what Jake and I can instill, but we're obviously trying to do that through the lens of analysis and not just post game interviews.
We need to get an accent. That's our problem. If we have an accent, people will listen to us.
So what if we tried to market ourselves specifically to Wisconsin sports fans not in Wisconsin? So they're like, oh my God, are you guys Canadian?
See, we could do that. We'll just say bag after every sentence.
We'll just say,
and they'll feel good.
Like, oh yeah, the Bucks are going to win tonight, eh? Don't you know the Bucks are 2-0 already?
Have you seen Splash Mountain's back, huh?
Oh yeah, hey, yeah, Splash Mountain's back, don't you know?
Drew Holiday still great on defense,
Oh god. Just watch the Dahmer show and just start talking like that all day.
That was annoying, by the way. We do
I
not
know,
sound
it's
like
like,
that.
dude, why does everybody think we talk like that?
We do not sound like that.
Just want to
Well,
take some pictures. Like nobody sounds like that. All right.
yeah.
Anyways, so Bucks and Nets tonight. The game starts in 35 minutes. Knicks on Friday, Hawks on Saturday, Pistons on Monday. What do you think out of 4 games the Bucks record will be in those 4 games?
3-1.
3-1.
Yeah.
Which one do you think they lose?
Probably the Cavs. Or Hawks, I mean. Probably the Hawks. Sadly. I'm sorry. They have really good guards.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really torn because I'm going back and forth between 3-1 and 4-0.
I'm only saying 3-1 really because I don't want to be called a homer.
There we go. Jared says we have accents. What the bloody hell was that? That's what people that aren't from Wisconsin think that people from Wisconsin sound like.
Yeah.
But us being from Wisconsin, we think Canadian people sound weird. Because that's what Canadian people sound like. I think I'm gonna go 4-0 because they're at home. All 4 games are at home. They don't have to do any traveling. Yes, it's a back-to-back, but they're all home games. It's not like they have to go on travel after the game. I'm gonna go 4-0 just because all 4 games are at home.
Okay.
I personally, I don't think the Knicks and the Pistons present any challenge at all. I think the Bucks are going to come into tonight energized. They're just going to beat up on the Knicks, beat the Hawks, and then kind of beat up on the Pistons again, and then we're back to Wednesday. So,
Jared, I have traveled before, and people have asked me where I'm from, and I literally just tell them I'm from America because it's just so annoying. Like, why does it matter how I talk, you bastards?
Dude, okay. So we're pretty much done. So I just want to bring something up. I'm in a lot of groups on Facebook just because I want to be able to interact with people and share our stuff. I had a dude who posted in a basketball group about LeBron James and Russell Westbrook bricking shots because they both airballed shots in a game the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know, and anybody in the comments can answer me, have you ever heard an airball called a brick?
No.
What is a brick to you?
When they shoot it and it either hits, it just clanks. Like it hits hard off the rim, like off the back of the rim. If it hits hard off the backboard, it hits off the side of the backboard. That's what a brick is.
Yeah. James said the same thing. It's like a ball that hits hard off the rim. That's a brick. Dude Googled one source that said an airball was a brick, and literally like the next 900 sources all say that the brick is a shot that bounces hard off the rim. Brick is something that he build houses.
I think back of the rim too, like those line drives. Like
yeah,
you
the
could tell when
straight
guys
back
are
to the shooter. That's why they tell you to follow your shot.
Yeah, those ones that are just like you could hear it hit the rim. It's just like that was a brick.
Yeah. It just baffled me that the dude was like, dude, you don't even know what you're talking about. Airballs are bricks. I'm like,
it reminds me of that one guy that didn't know what a treble was. Like,
yeah. I just wanted to bring that up because it absolutely baffled me. The dude was like confrontational about the fact that I'm like, airballs aren't bricks, dude.
They're literally two different things.
It was really weird to me that the dude was like so defensive about it too.
The only thing that they're synonymous about is that they're a miss. That's about it.
I still can't wrap my head around that. I'm like, I've never heard a single person call an airball a brick ever.
No,
I've been playing basketball for a long time.
Me too. I've been around a lot of different basketball venues, events. I've never heard somebody call an airball a brick.
No, you call it an air ball. That's what it is.
Yep.
All right. Well, with that, do you have anything else?
No, man. Looking forward to the Bucks destroying the Nets
Yeah.
and Bucks in 6. Hopefully the Badgers can have a good, healthy bye week, and we will see you all on Friday.
See, Jared's from Australia and he hasn't even heard that.
Thank you, Jared.
All right. So next Wednesday, we'll be back. We'll have more Bucks games to talk about. We'll have a Badger preview, not a recap. And we'll also have our Badger basketball primer next Wednesday. Friday night, we'll be talking about the Packer game, the recap, and the preview. We're going to talk it out. We're going to hash it out. We're going to find positive takeaways, ways to improve. We're going to discuss it all. So stick with us on Friday night, and I will see you on Friday.
Yep. See you later, buddy.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching and commenting along.